Few things are more frustrating to a PC builder than when you've just spent the last few hours building your PC and then you just go ahead and you hit the power button and nothing happens. Most of us PC builders have been there at one point or another, and in this video I'm going to tell you how to fix that, or at least some common ways. And the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the switch on your power supply in the back is set to on. On being the line and off being the circle. Of course, that's probably not the case, but just make sure that that's not the reason why it's not working. And then second, make sure it's plugged in directly to the wall and not to an extension cord or a power strip. Because me personally, when it has not booted, it was because of that. It was because it was plugged into an extension cord that was limiting the wattage that the PC was getting. So make sure it goes directly into the wall just to eliminate that as a solution. That could be the problem. So the next thing I would do is make sure all your PSU cables are connected to your parts and that the cables are fully secured. That means check your graphics card, your motherboard power supply cable, your CPU cable, and your drive cables, and you got the idea. And if you have, of course, optical drives, just everything, check to make sure that everything is secured, all of your power cables. And then next thing, I'm going to go and say you should check the RAM, because it's very easy to think that the RAM is seated properly when it's not actually seated properly, because it looks like it is. But to make sure that it's seated properly, make sure that to put the tabs down like they should be by default when you got your motherboard, and then just press the RAM in hard enough that both the tabs go up by themselves. That's how you know that it's fully seated. Both, not just one, go up by themselves. Sometimes you have to press pretty hard to do that. Next thing, there's a set of pins that plugs from your case into your motherboard. And I can't tell you where exactly it is because it depends on which motherboard you have, but those pins should connect from the case onto the motherboard. And one of them is especially important because it's the power cable. If you don't plug it directly in from your case to your motherboard, then pressing the power button on your case isn't going to do anything with your motherboard. So you have to make sure that not only are they all plugged in, but they're all plugged into the right place. Check your motherboard manual. It should be a set of about 8 pins, just like these right here that you can see probably pretty clearly. It should look a bit like that, but it should be about 8 of them, and they have to be in a specific arrangement that will be told by you on your motherboard. That's the only way to know how, because it depends on which motherboard you have, but make sure that those are all properly plugged in. That's super important. I've also had PCs not start because of that, but that is luckily a very easy fix. And now the last fix I'm going to have for you, if none of those things work, is remove your graphics card. Unplug, of course, the PSU cables, and then just slot out your graphics card and try booting without your graphics card. Even if you don't have integrated graphics, it doesn't matter. All you're seeing is it can boot without your graphics card. And if it can boot without your graphics card, but not with your graphics card, it means that probably your power supply does not have enough wattage for your graphics card. Even though it might say that it does, if it's one of those low quality brands, it's possible that it doesn't actually put out as much wattage as it says it does. If none of these fixes worked for you, I'm sorry to say the case is probably that you have a bad part. And even in that case, especially if you bought the parts new, it's not the end of the world because you'll probably be able to get that part replaced for free. But of course, you're going to have to wait, so that still kind of sucks. But the way to make sure if you have a bad part or not is to test your components with other components that you know to be working. Like the best way to do this would be if you have a friend who also builds PCs and you could borrow some of their components to pair them with each of your components to see whether or not it works with their components. And that way you should be able to figure out if there's a bad part, which part it is. And like I said, there probably is a bad part if none of the fixes I said did work. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you want to see in the next video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.